Today on Fox Audio, we check out the highly acclaimed choir library from Audio Imperia, Chorus. When I first heard that Audio Imperia was developing a dedicated choir library, I was incredibly excited. After all, I had already made a video expressing my love for the choirs featured in Nucleus, So a full-fledged choir library from Audio Imperia was definitely at the top of my wish list. As luck would have it, Audio Imperia would team up with none other than Jasper Blunk from Performance Samples and award-winning producer and engineer Scott Michael Smith to create this absolute beast of a choir library. I guess you could say that Chorus is a triple threat. But with all of the choir libraries already on the market, you might be asking yourself, what could be so different about Chorus that sets it apart from the rest of the competition? Well, aside from it having an amazing team who put this library together, there are actually a few highlights of Chorus that truly make it stand out. For one, most choir libraries specialize in something niche or have their strengths in only one area. For example, 8 Dio's in Solidus is geared towards the soft and lush side of things, while Strezov Sampling Storm Choir Ultimate is all about that triple forte dynamic with over-the-top vibrato. That's not to say that these libraries aren't capable of venturing into other sonic territory, but it is undeniably obvious what these libraries excel at and what they were designed to do. Taking that into consideration, Chorus is the only choir library I know of that excels at all dynamics across the entire spectrum. This is made possible by the 3 different types of syllable patches: slow, traditional, and energetic. Chorus is a jack-of-all-trades type of library in this regard, but since it can easily pull off the soft stuff as well as the epic stuff and everything in between, you no longer need multiple choir libraries to capture the broad range of choir dynamics. And because of this, I would go so far as to say that Chorus is not only a jack-of-all-trades, but is a master of all. Chorus also provides you with 3 different mixes. You have a classic, a modern, and a Scott Michael Smith mix. This is also another standout feature of Chorus because most, if not all, choir libraries only provide you with one mix. If you want a different mix, then you've got to bust out your EQ and compression plugins and get to work. But Chorus has already done the work for you, so not only does it save you loads of time, but it adds a serious level of usability and value to the overall library. Another really cool thing about Chorus is this built-in S feature, which adds a notable S type of sound to the syllables. This is great for moments where you really want the choir to be heard or stand out just a little more. I also want to mention that the playability of Chorus is simply outstanding. I was actually a bit worried at first when I saw that it didn't include a way to adjust the attack and release of the syllables. But rest assured, Audio Imperia are amongst the best developers in the industry when it comes to programming and playability. Seriously, not once have I actually needed to adjust the attack or release of the syllables. They simply just work. Another aspect of Chorus that I love is how well the syllables are separated. A lot of choir libraries that contain syllables are usually guilty of something called bleed over. This happens when the syllables are in different length of each other, and when you play fast staccatos, the end of one syllable bleeds over into the start of another syllable, and the end result is a sloppy, undefined mess. Chorus, on the other hand, does an incredible job of separating the syllables, and it does it in a way that makes bleed over a non-issue here. So far, we've covered the playability and features of the library, but what about the tone? Well, you can use your own ears to decide, but I'll just go ahead and say that Chorus has one of the most flexible tones of all choir libraries. It's an open, clear, and present sound that seems to comfortably fit into any musical scenario. You know how you can pretty much put any topping on vanilla ice cream, and it will always taste like it was made to go with it? Well, Chorus is kind of like that, because there's nothing overly distinctive or distracting about it. The tone will fit into any composition and any mix. By contrast, something like Storm Choir Ultimate may not be as flexible due to its deliberate and over-the-top vibrato style, which has a very distinctive sound that may or may not appeal to you. However, Chorus benefits from its ability to blend in like a chameleon, yet simultaneously be able to stand out with sonic beauty and Thanos levels of power. Alright, time to change gears now, because I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are a little inconvenient about the library. Keep in mind that these are more personal workflow issues than actual issues with the library itself, so take this with a grain of salt. So when you're playing the syllable patches, the syllables do not automatically change when you're playing legato style. You have to either lift off the notes completely or use a sustain pedal to trigger new syllables. I find this to be not as convenient as choir libraries that automatically change the syllable every time you play a new note. I think it would be great if Audio Imperia just gave you the option to do either or. Another thing that I find just a little perplexing is the polyphonic legato. According to the manual, this option allows you to control 2 independent legato lines by playing notes in a specific velocity range. The velocity splits control determines how many lines can be played simultaneously. For instance, with 2 velocity splits, any notes above velocity 64 trigger 1 legato line, while notes with a velocity less than 64 trigger a second independent legato line. But I personally find it somewhat cumbersome to play. You can't just hold down a chord with one hand and play legato lines with the other, like you can with Storm Choir Ultimate. Oh, and by the way, one reason why I keep referring back to Storm Choir Ultimate is because I've been getting a lot of questions asking how chorus compares to Storm Choir. So, there you go. So, the polyphonic legato is probably my biggest disappointment with the library. The concept of playing a polyphonic legato patch the same way as you play a sustained patch is incredibly appealing, but the polyphonic legato in chorus just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Finally, I would love to have seen some choir effects included in chorus. A lot of choir libraries tend to include some aleatoric effects, so I think that would have been a nice touch to the library. Audio Imperia tends to include sound design patches in their libraries as well, so that would have been cool to see. Despite those minor inconveniences, I honestly feel that chorus is one hell of a choir library, and that it has raised the bar in the sample world. The tone is gorgeous, the playability is excellent, the legato is beautiful, and most importantly, chorus covers so much sonic territory that it honestly feels like multiple libraries in one. And for that, I personally deem chorus to be the most versatile choir library to date. Does that make chorus the best choir library of all time? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. But I personally think that every choir library out there has something unique and special to offer, depending on the track you happen to be working on at the time. For example, Wotan has that unique Lord of the Rings low end. Dominus offers a lush and ethereal beauty. The Eric Whitacre Choir ventures into evolving textural realms, while Mysterious specializes in the avant-garde, and so on and so forth. But for an all-around choir library, I strongly feel that chorus takes the gold, easily. And if I had to choose only one choir library for the next 5 years, chorus would be it. To wrap things up, I've gone ahead and written a short track showcasing the powerful dynamics of chorus. This particular track is a bit chaotic and dissonant, but as you'll soon hear, chorus has no problem keeping up with it. A big thanks to Audio Imperia for creating this beautiful beast of a library and sending me a copy to review. Also, a big thanks to everyone watching. Your support means so much. Until next time, I'm Mike Fox, and this has been Fox Audio.